All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. And on today's episode, we will be discussing the Avalanche final game in Ball Arena for the season, and they lose it to Nashville 5-4 in a shootout. So we will discuss everything that comes with that, including the Avs kind of on the outside now as far as the President's Trophy goes. That can't be won. It goes to Florida and kind of maybe sets our first round opponent up in Dallas, most likely, but we'll talk about it all and then some. First things first, thank you for making this first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, Locked On Avalanche at gmail.com, and follow the show on our Twitter channel on our YouTube channel. There it is, over on the YouTube. Kyle runs the Twitter rooms, so I'm mashing up the two. Either way, follow us on social media outlets. All right, Kyle. For me, it's just like I just want to get to the playoffs. Like I want to be upset about this, and I am. Because when you're up, 4-1, you want to put that game away, especially on home ice, especially if you're still, in the thick of it for the President's Trophy. And the Avs let it slip away. And I don't think it's because they had the mindset of we don't have a ton to play for. I think they just let this one go, and they were playing hard.
Yeah, especially how they started out the game. Like, the tempo was extremely noticeable. They outshot the Predators in that first period. And I mean, to go up 3-1 going into the second period with that tempo, with everything feeling like we were having the conversation in the Twitter room, like, could we have a possible game 82 scenario with Minnesota and the President's Trophy on the line? And just talk about all those scenarios, because you felt so good after that first period.
Yeah.
And then for the Avalanche just slowly let everything get away, both with the penalties, the power play, the tempo, the physicality, the passing. Like, Nashville gave them every opportunity to steal that game and win that game and give everyone in Ball Arena on Fan Appreciation Night something to go home to. But in that third period, it was noticeable that they let it slip away in the shootout. I mean, there's not much you can do there.
Yeah. Shootout's a shootout. I can go either way. But I mean, I just feel like Nashville really had no business early on being in this game. And when I say early on, I kind of mean the first two periods. The third period is where they really turned up the juice a little bit, and they started playing a better game. And by that, I mean, and I made a comment on Twitter when they were just committing penalties left and right, and dumb penalties.
Yeah.
And I made a comment to say, like, if this is the matchup, if this is your first round matchup, they're going to struggle. You can't give a Colorado Avalanche team that many chances. I don't care how much they're struggling on the power play. They have the ability, and they have, they can just go on a run on a power play. And when you give them 6, you gave the Colorado Avalanche 6 power plays. We'll talk about how those didn't go so well in a minute, but just the fact that you gave them 6, and that is the Predators' MO. That's not an anomaly. Like, they commit penalties all the time because they're an aggressive team, but they don't play smart aggressive. They just throw their bodies around and they take penalties. You can't do that in the playoffs. You can't do that against Colorado Avalanche. They might not match up with them in the first round, but I was feeling good because I just felt like Nashville just continues to shoot themselves in the foot. Sooner or later, the Avalanche are going to take advantage of it. They didn't. Nashville lucked out that they didn't.
Especially when Cale Makar took care of that first power play like he did.
Oh, yeah.
Felt really good. Like, you felt like that was going to be the MO through the rest of the night. But something we talk about all the time with this Avalanche team, like, they can't convert power plays. And another factor that leads into that, it doesn't help when you don't win the faceoff. And the faceoffs were so bad tonight.
Horrible.
Like, And to make things worse, they were winning the faceoff game in the first period into that second intermission. And then to lose with Nashville winning 60% of the faceoffs, like that's not good. And it doesn't matter if you're on the power play. If you don't have the puck when they drop it, you're not going to convert a power play, especially when you're still committing to the slingshot.
Still, and the majority of the power plays did not look good. There was maybe one or two that maybe were their best opportunities, but man, they couldn't crack through on the power play. And you look at the shots on goal. Yeah, the Avalanche had 46 shots on goal, while Nashville had 37. But when you look at it period by period, it kind of like goes like an X, like for each team. Like Colorado 20-7 in the first period, and then they go down. They go 20, 14, and 9, while Nashville goes up. They go 7, 13, and then 14 in the third. So that right there is kind of a microcosm of the game. It was Colorado was doing whatever they wanted to do. It showed in shots on goal. It showed in the score. And then, Nashville hangs around. Nashville is a talented team.
Yes, they are.
On offense. They have some offensive power. And man, did Forsberg, he just had an assist, but that guy is so difficult to cover.
Yeah.
Then they struggle. He usually plays well against Colorado.
And he turned Sammy G inside out.
He did.
He's just an annoyance. He's a presence. He's a presence. And like you were talking about the shots, like real quick, yesterday in the episode, we were talking about how big of an advantage it was that UC Saros wasn't going to be in the game. And it looks like he's going to be out for a while. And Reddit even tried to take himself out at one point with the crossbar.
Yeah. That was funny.
And for like the Avalanche at the end of the night, walk away with a loss against that type of goalie play. Like it really stings a little bit.
Yeah, I mean they got 4 on them.
You even made the very appropriate tweet that the whole team had the case of the Berkeys.
It's so true.
Not only did they have the case of the Berkeys, like with 46 shots, like in that overtime, the inability to have the confidence in your shot to take one. There were so many skate in and then try and reset, skate in, try and reset, because nobody felt confident in passing the puck around or taking a shot. Like I saw Cale Makar peel off of some, saw Mikko Rantanen peel off of some. Like the body language spoke a lot to where this Avalanche team was later in the game.
So if you want to know just how many shots sailed wide for the Colorado Avalanche, they had 46 shots on goal. Their Corsi 4. So again, if you don't know what Corsi means, like Corsi is a stat that's tracked that tracks every shot thrown towards the net. It doesn't have to be a shot on goal. It could be a blocked shot. It's shots that sail wide. It's anything that is a potential or a shot is counted. So shots on goal, they had 46. Their Corsi 4 was 73. So they nearly took 30 extra shots that missed or were blocked. That's crazy. That's a lot of shots towards the goal, and that's good. But when you have 30 that are close, 27 that missed the net, you're just all over the place with your shot chart. It's crazy.
And what was that? Who got that earlier goal? Lehkonen, I believe it was. That it was so wide that no one knew where it was, and he had the ability to put it right back in. Was that Lehkonen?
Oh no, that was the O'Connor. That was the O'Connor goal.
LOC.
I still can't figure that one out. Like they didn't have a really good replay on where that puck went. It seemed like it went out. It seemed like it went out in the netting, and everybody was just assumed it did. And then somehow, I don't know. I haven't seen a good replay of it yet.
That's your visual identifier for that Corsi. That's how bad things were when it came to sailing things. Nobody knew where it was, and you were able to get a goal off of it.
Oh my God. Crazy. All right, still lots to get to in this game. Kind of break down some individual players. Some guys played very well, some guys did not play so well. So first, we're going to hear from Built Bar. Summer is coming, and with the summer, you're going to need some food on the go, and Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on your family vacations. Throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks. Make sure that everyone has a bar so you are fueled for the summertime adventures. The best part about Built Bar, they're healthy and delicious. No more sacrificing delicious food for health. And with Built Bar, you can have both. And it's easy. All you have to do is go to built.com and order right now. All Built Bars and Built Bar Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means with Built Bars, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. And like we told you guys the other day, they now have Built granola bars. Can't wait to get my hands on those. So go to built.com to get all of your favorites and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Once again, the promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Okay. Kind of looking at like individual players, like you had some guys, really play well. And like I said in the beginning, this was a game. The Avalanche weren't going to sit back and just go through the motions. You're getting, Mikko Rantanen back. It's Devon Taves, his second game back. So you have guys that need to put in the work. They just can't go through the motions. They need to get that rust off and get their legs back before the playoffs come. So, and you could see, what were the hits in this game? Wow. 42 hits for Nashville, 33 for Colorado. If that was like 42 for Nashville and like 12 for Colorado, okay, they're not really going after guys, but that's a lot of hits even for Colorado. So no, this was not a game they were sitting back and just saying, well, we'll just one more game off the schedule and one more game closer to the playoffs. These guys were going at it.
Yeah. And you saw that Darren Helm got blown up twice on one play.
Yeah.
It's just like the physicality was just next level. The Avalanche kind of stayed in it, which it's a positive you could take away from this game if you want to, but like they stayed in.
Well, yeah.
Like even they don't play the physical game. That's not the Avalanche style.
No, but when you got 33 hits of your own, you're standing in there, and you can take it. And I think that's what, a lot of those, the moves that they made, especially with Manson, that's a guy on the back end who he can hold his own.
Yep.
So yeah, there's even though they made those moves, that doesn't mean like now they are the most physical team in the league. It's just we can hang with these guys now. But one guy who really struggles in these physical games is Sam Girard.
Yeah.
And he was getting thrown around a little bit in that first period. I think his helmet came off at one point, but and he struck. I on one end, it's like, yeah, he struggles because he doesn't like. He doesn't mind physical play, but when it gets like this, when a team is built on physicality, he doesn't like that. And on the other hand, like I was watching him, like he battles, he does battle, like he keeps putting in the effort, but you can see there was one time where puck was kind of almost coming out of the zone and he was going to try to keep it in and he like short sticked it. Like he kind of like short armed it because he knew he was going to get hit, instead of just like committing to it, throwing your body in there, keeping the puck in the zone. If you get laid up, I know that's not ideal. You don't want to get hurt, but you could tell he just has these tendencies to shy away from it a little bit more when he's playing a team who's physical first.
And what's bittersweet about it, like it was taking Girard out of his game, and you could see a couple times when he could get set up. You saw the La Tournade move. You saw him keep it in the zone on a delayed penalty that he drew off a backhand. He kept it in. Like he's starting to get his confidence back. And right as he's starting to get his confidence back, Nashville takes him, like former team of Sam Girard.
Yeah.
They take him out of his game. And it's kind of like one step forward, two steps back with Sam Girard. And you're wanting him to get ready and get back into that skill that we know that he could do for the playoffs. But Yeah, he was all out of sorts tonight.
A little bit surprised they didn't switch and take him out of the second power play unit
Yeah.
and bring in Bo Byram or so, you know what I mean? Like Byram was nowhere to be seen on either power play unit. And especially when you're 1 for 6,
Yeah.
when you get to be that 1 for 4 and even 1 for 5, you got to make some changes. This is one of the questions that I think Nick asked the question about what will we change on the power play. It's not just zone entries.
Yeah.
It's the first unit. I that's the only thing I would change about the first unit is give them different looks on zone entries. Once they get in there, they can do their thing because they have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
On the second unit, you got to change things up, and that could be who's out there if they're not if the whole power play unit is not playing well. That's a move I would have made, is take Sammy G out and throw Bo Byram in there.
Yeah, and it's the Avalanche and how they deal with adjustments is becoming a new little thing that we're having to observe now. Like, this isn't working. Why are we still doing it?
You talking about what specifically? Like the
like power plays, like some of these putting Mikko on the second line tonight. Like, I get Lehkonen and Nuke have been performing really, really well. What are you wanting out of Mikko then? Like putting him on a line that's a weird combo. And
he didn't start there though, right? He started on the top line, I believe.
And
Mikko did.
He was floating in that Kadri Berkey line. Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if that was more of just his first game back and let's move him around a little bit, or if there was more to it. I don't know.
It's just like, it's weird little, like, I think we're getting too happy-go-lucky with this. Like, none of these games really matter. We're getting ready for the playoffs. Like, I think we're stuck in this creative mode, and I think we need to get back to Avalanche hockey.
Well, we
practice on that.
The last game against St. Louis, that was great.
That was.
And you saw it here against the Predators. You saw, I mean, it started out fantastic. And it was one of those things where as the game went on, you could see the momentum shifting. So and that's going to happen over the course of a hockey game. You know what I mean?
It's going to get worse in the playoffs.
Yeah, teams are going to battle back. They're not going to give up, especially a team that's in the playoffs and a team like Nashville has something to fight for in these last few games. So you want to say, okay, they're giving us a shot. Let's give them a shot back. And didn't happen so much. You had some opportunities in the third. I'm not going to say you didn't, but the controlling the pace of play like you were in the first half of the game wasn't there. It wasn't there in the second half.
And then getting beat on the defense as well. Like that's also an issue.
And you had, a couple silly penalties on the Avalanche side with the Nathan McKinnon penalty, 4 seconds into a power play, holding the stick. I think it's just one of those things where you see it there and you just can't help yourself and you just reach out and grab the stick to hold it. I don't know, probably just a reactionary move by Nathan McKinnon. And then the one which could have been the death kill for the Avs in regulation with Abe-Kubel. I mean, he's trying to make a tough play. He's trying to be aggressive, but he got overly aggressive.
Oh, was that Darren Helm?
Or was it Helm? It was Helm. I said Abe-Kubel. It was Helm.
Abe-Kubel was nowhere to be seen, by the way. That's why I wanted to make sure.
So, and that was with like 2 minutes and change. So that pretty much ended the game on a power play. But so you had, it was good and bad. It was the good and the bad for the Avalanche last night. Some things that you're like, okay, like if they played like this in the 4-game loss, I'd be like, okay, that's all right. And this loss I can take, and you get the point. You set the record for franchise points in a season. Congratulations there. So there's so many like mixed emotions about this game. And for me, that's going to reflect in my sound check, which we will do next after we hear from Bet Online at betonline.net. It's your number one source for all of your betting stats and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season, which is well underway. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. It's betonline.net, where the game starts. Our sound check for the Colorado Avalanche versus the Nashville Predators. Songs that we feel best summarize all of the action. Go to Spotify, search for the playlist LOPN Soundcheck. Follow it every time there's a game. We add 2 songs to it, one from Kyle, one from me. What do you got for Avalanche Predators, sir?
Indie kind of vibe, kind of off the wall, off the beaten path of my normal suggestions.
All right.
It honestly just sums up this game and a chance to enjoy the Minnesota game. No trophy from the Bees.
I don't know that one.
Yeah,
wow,
no trophy.
Okay.
It's a good little vibe, good little band. Yeah, no President's Trophy.
You're right.
So this Minnesota game is just for fun. A good rivalry exhibition between 2 teams that's already clinched.
Yeah.
Nothing to prove, no trophy. On you go.
Okay. Does Minnesota still have to, I mean, are they still fighting for who's going to be at, or is
they
that,
were the
that
one
done?
of the first team? Yeah, they were one of the first teams to actually clinch their series with St. Louis. Like, it was like St. Louis, Minnesota locked in. Like,
I knew they were locked in, but I didn't know if the seeding was locked in for those 2.
You know
what I mean?
I don't think they're in a position where it matters. I think they're in that whole
well,
shot.
you got Minnesota's got 111 and St. Louis has 109, and they both have one more game to go. So I don't know. Let's see, and they both have 47 ROW. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have in front of me just regulation wins, so I don't know who's got that. Whoever has that has the tiebreaker.
I think it was a week or 2 ago that they were announced to be like locked in, like that's your matchup. So I think
it is, but I don't know if the home ice was set, because that can flip flop. So I don't know. Maybe that's still, but that will be a first round matchup, and one that a lot of people are going to enjoy.
Oh, so,
is the Bees like the letter B? S, or is it
like the animal, like the insect,
like the insect? Okay, I'm looking forward to that one, man.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. For me, one of these, I saw this guy open. He was an opening act the very first time I ever saw the Dave Matthews Band. This was in 1996. Like, they had one album out, and this dude opened for them, and ever since then I've been a massive fan of him. And it's Ben Harper. So
yeah,
love Ben Harper stuff. And he has a song off of, I think, one of his better albums called Diamonds on the Inside, but the song is called So High, So Low. And that just encapsulates this game for me. You started out so high, you are looking good, and you got a nice lead, and then you can just see it chipping away, and things go even. And then obviously the loss is the low point. Well, the overtime loss, you got a point, obviously, but so for me, I thought that was a perfectly titled song for me.
And on fan appreciation night, like, all I kept thinking about seeing the jersey off your back auction that they had at the end, where I just, like, you get to meet one of your favorite Avalanche players, and they just start off saying sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know. That's the worst part about that. Like, following a loss, it's like, I know the players want to do it regardless, but it's like, following a loss, they're probably just like, they're not in the mood. Maybe they are for this one because everything was wrapped up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Go back to Colorado Avalanche, St. Louis Blues a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Winner goes, and they lose that game, and then have to do shirt off my back. Like, they're not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and by the way, I just want to give a fair warning. Just be prepared for the beginning of that song by Ben Harper, because if you're kind of just daydreaming while you're like driving your car and you listen to the beginning, which is very nice, like acoustic, like it's mellow stuff, and then like it can scare the bejesus out of you within, I think, like the first 10-15 seconds of the song. You'll know what I mean when you hear it. Just fair warning, pay attention.
It's gone.
Yeah. All right, man. So yeah, one more game to go in the regular season, and that is the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota. What are we expecting? I mean, against, we just talked about it with the Preds, and they put up a fight. Do you think they take the foot off the gas a little bit? Do you think we'll see like Curtis McDermott come back? And I don't know. I'm trying to think of a guys off the top of my head who were kind of healthy scratches. Think they come
Myers,
back?
Newhook, Myers, McDermott. Like, I honestly this season has been the longest 3 years of my life. Like chasing that President's Trophy, all these records,
Yeah.
the ups and the downs of the season and how it's really ending. I think the consensus with both of these teams tonight would be, let's just get this one over with.
I know, man. That's where I'm at.
I think it's just going to be a good, honestly, exhibition, kind of like a preseason game. It's going to have that same feel, that same vibe. Like, yeah, you just want to get out healthy.
Yeah, I should have looked it up quickly to see if that is meaningful to Minnesota, or if they tie in points, they have it. If they have it, then yeah, I think it's just going to be a ho-hum type of game. Not a ton going on. You're not going to see a lot of hits. You're not going to see a lot of fighting, and that's different for these two teams.
Yeah,
because they both want to be smart, both go into the playoffs healthy. If it's meaningful for Minnesota, and I'm sure there's people that are going to be commenting on YouTube, let us know that, and I will check it as soon as the show is over to check it. Then you're going to see something different from Minnesota, that's for sure. So,
and the Avalanche will fight back because you don't want to end the season on a loss.
That's usually true. I mean, is this a little bit different though? I mean, I don't know. I man, like when this game was over.
Well, you have 119. Why not go for 121?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you want to do it safely, obviously. I don't know, man.
If you want to do it safely, I get you just kind of want get the game over. If you don't want to win, just call the league office, say, hey, we forfeit.
Can we not do this game?
Because I don't know if you looked at the schedule, but playoffs start Monday. I would like to go to sleep. Can we just forfeit?
Jared Bednar said, this is coming from Peter Ball from The Athletic. Jared Bednar said the difference in tonight's game was Darcy Kemper had a quote off night. He said he rather it happen now than in the playoffs. He played tonight like our team was. He played tonight like our team played in Winnipeg. It happens, he said. So, and I thought the same thing. Remember I said with Sam Girard, he obviously didn't play well, but he battled. And Darcy Kemper battled. It wasn't his best, but he was, he was out there just giving it his all, obviously.
And Brittany, our resident fan goalie, she was on the Twitter space tonight. She brought up a great point that I've been seeing, but hearing it come from her being a goalie, it made sense. Something's different in Darcy's mechanics and his side to side, because he's floating out of the crease a lot.
He is. Yeah.
That he's overcorrecting something. And she thinks it's because of the injury to his hand that he sustained in that practice. She thinks he's overcompensating for something. It was a great point. Wanted to bring that up.
He is
he's very interesting.
He's coming out of the crease further, and he's getting down on the ice way too quick. The first shot, he is going flat belly down on the ice, and there's a rebound to be had, and then he has to get all that time. I mean, he's quick at getting back up, but you've taken yourself way out of position at that point.
Yep.
So yeah, just an off night for him. I would agree with that. Here's one. He asked Cale Makar on if he will play in Minnesota, and Bednar said indication is most likely not. And I don't have a problem with that. Rest Cale Makar, there's his season, there's his stats for the year. In our eyes, Norris Trophy worthy, but there's no point to play him.
Yeah, they shut down Austin Matthews and nobody's crying about it. Yeah. Let it be.
Yeah. Logan O'Connor said of Darcy Kemper, he's been the rock for us all year. He said they have tons of confidence in him going into the playoffs. So is that a thing? I mean, are people really like questioning him now? I don't.
Hey,
what's going
let's
on?
get you to the side. How about this Darcy Kemper guy?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Congratulations on getting the most points in your franchise history. But can we talk about your goalie?
Yeah. So
Come on now.
So if McCarr's not going to be there, who else won't be? I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch this game because we watched every single game, but I'm not going to want to, like, halfway through. I'm like, why am I watching this game? This is gonna be like a preseason NFL game. There's no need to watch it. So, all right. So we will be back on Monday, though. I'm sure we'll have our schedule by then. Kind of break all that down, see who our solid set in stone first round opponent is, and all that stuff. One more game to get through, and then season number 2 begins. Cannot wait. All right, everybody. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. And we'll see everybody on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys Monday.